Hello. How's everybody? Let's get right to work. Just gotta share my screen. And we're gonna be going right here. Nope. Yep. Also share system audio. No, I don't need to do that. Alright, well before we get into that, let's take a look at and why isn't it letting me? There we go. Stock futures fall with tech shares weak again. I mean, this whole like AI thing is just so stupid. It's just a headline. There's no real facts behind it, in my opinion. Peloton with a bullish holiday forecast. Forward into production. Penny gets an upgrade now after DraftKings sucks again with their shit earnings. Altman trying to say some positive about AI. Tesla needs to build gigantic chip fab to meet AI and robotics needs. DraftKings CEO says prediction markets aren't luring customers away from sports betting. What does that even mean? Meta projected 10% of 2024 sales came from scam fraud ads. Oh, Thanksgiving prices are going to go high. Great. SNAP benefits must be fully paid by Trump administration by Friday. The fact that the government is still shut down, it doesn't make, it doesn't surprise me because Trump is very stubborn and the Dems are just probably asking for like ridiculous stuff. So ends up being this war of words that just is getting absolutely nowhere clearly. Grand Theft Auto being delayed. Texas Road has some tough spot. I mean, there's been a lot of white collar um, workers getting laid off. We knew that businesses are struggling. The market, regardless, was still going up. So the fact that it's going down a little bit now, like nothing has changed. Like nothing has just has all been happening. So it's like, I guess it was the price of nearly getting to 7,000, and then just selling off, which is not the biggest surprise. You can see that SPY got to 6928. So it's about 1% away from 7,000. And since then, it's gone down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row, essentially. It's wild. There was really no blow off top or anything like that either, though. Kind of rejected from it. Like, who's really waiting up there? Maybe just weak hands. Who knows? Take a look at SPY. Oops. So at this part, this level is void in my opinion because this level was only an interest on the way back. I don't really see it being much of an interest on the way back up because then it just becomes like a guessing game. So I'm not sure. I'm willing to lose out on that if I have to, because it wasn't a real level in my opinion. Like it was just a level of interest. Support becomes resistance, but it doesn't have to be. So SPY opening towards the lows here. Definitely watching the 50-day as it's still, you know, showing good sign of just moving nice and upward. Same thing with the 200-day. So still, in my opinion, a bullish market and still looking for a daily higher low. Even though the bulls are having a tough time finding it. The last real higher low, you could say it was this guy right here. Now we go to the hourly time frame, and you can see, if you go back to yesterday's video, we talked about this sort of being an inverse head and shoulders on a lot of names, but not necessarily on SPY. And you can see that we did reject from this level here and then just kind of shot straight down. It was really the break of the pre-market level here that signified the bears were in control. And then we came all the way back down. And I was a little bit, I was just, again, talking about yesterday, I was just thinking to myself, the setup long is there, right? Inverse head and shoulders on a lot of names, not necessarily SPY, but on a lot of names. Looking for a daily high or low. Like it just made sense, but it it ended up just not sitting well with me for some reason. And you can see that it broke there. We had this big dump. We had this hourly bounce here that was very, very tough. I mean, the hourly bounce was just a mess. You can see we traded sideways, broke bear, back tested here, double bottom right there. And then this is where it got a little bit tricky. And this is where I think a lot of people get in trouble was because if you watch the EMA 12 was really the resistance level here. So you have this double bottom and you have this bull break over this level here, right? So that's a good indication to potentially get in there or wait for the next higher low. Now, the problem is that if that's your entry signal, then what do you think when it closes back below it? Well, that's something you just have to kind of like eat, right? Because you don't love it, but your stop should be down here, right? With a buffer. So you get in here, your stop should be down here with a buffer. Um, Looking for an hourly bounce, right? That would be the play. So when it comes back up and you look for and you get the higher low, but it closes back underneath that level, it sucks. It's not a good look at all. But you just got to go down with the ship there, um, or you stop out break even, which would be hard to do because you give yourself no breathing room. So you see, it came back, kind of gave everybody a bad taste in the mouth, then it shot straight up. So just the kind of tricky stuff you see on the smaller time frames. And then you get the move up here, and then you get the fade at the end of the day. Ended up being not much of anything here to see. Get the 5 minute higher low, lower high. You get the bear break here. There's always a battle here. There's always that bear break, and then you think it's going to be a fake out, and then it's not the fake out. So it's always that too. You just have to pick a side and not and like deal with the consequences, right? I mean, if you're looking short here, like if you're getting in on this break, I mean, it's not like the ideal play to get in on the actual trend change, even though a lot of people do. but there's not really much of a pattern here either. I mean, I guess you can say this is some sort of weird Pettit type deal. Anywho, it doesn't matter. So, hourly here, hourly lower low. In pre-market here, bulls try to once again defend. And I don't know if this is actually defending. I think this is like bears who got in here. They big bear. There's that liquidity. They can relieve themselves of the position. And maybe that's more selling than buying. It wouldn't really make sense too much to buy there. But sometimes you do see that bear break into the buying, the quick reversal. So we have SPY here, hourly lower low. The real level here is right here. The bulls need to get over this level. And we've already talked about support levels, one being the 50-day, and the other one being this little rinky-dinky higher low here. And then if not, then you have support here. But bears are still in control. Burden is on the bulls for sure. And yuck. I mean, yesterday was kind of like a 50-50 and go either way. Today is more bearish, but again, just looking for the daily higher low. Let's look at QQQ, see if it's correlated. So we got the Qs here battling. I was trying to shoot for some longs here on names like Apple, but it didn't work out. I made some small moves, but I just wasn't confident enough. And I guess that was a good thing. Just the hourly, it just took so much effort just to get off of this level here. And I mean, it could have very easily shot up here, came back higher low, and then could have done that for sure. But it's hard when you play with correlation sometimes because Apple was set up really well, but Apple was already moving before QQQ got over and made a change of character, which was getting over that EMA 12 on the 5-minute time frame. But by the time that happened, Apple was already kind of moving. So if you want to be aggressive, you get in the Apple when it looks good, and you say if Apple if QQ gets going here, Apple's going to look really good, but that doesn't happen all the time either. It happens a lot, but not all the time. All right, so we see that the hourly level is right there. Again, we have a gap down open and a bear flag lower low. So the pre-market lows are going to be important this morning. So about 2 hours before the market opens, but it is a spot where the pre-market lows are important as they will represent a level where bears can get some things moving early on. We have this rinky-dink higher low right here, and it kind of lines up with the 50-day with a little bit of a volume pop here. Again, I'm just going to dismiss this level here. I mean, it can still hold, but once again, doesn't it? Like it ended up being a spot where there was definitely some interest here. You can see that there was some buying here, but it just wasn't strong enough. So you had the whole, okay, are people here? Yep. And that's part one. Part two is are there enough to get people involved. Um, so it's a two-part battle, right? Because it could have just cut right through it, or it could have hit here and then bounced like crazy. So getting good at gauging what's actually happening there is important. And one thing that helps is just understanding. I mean, you can make the plays, right? Um, but you also want to make sure that you're utilizing this, and you can see that it actually bounced right off of it was at 0.382 exactly, and I'm pretty sure. No, it's close to EMA 12, but like yeah, bear flag for sure. And you could see the volume on the way up. I mean, look at the volume on the way down. This is what made me eerie is that we were coming into this level here of support, and we have these red candles, and it's like yikes. Like I wouldn't mind it going down, but not the volume. The volume there is definitely noteworthy. And then you see the bounce here. If you see a bounce with volume just as big, then maybe you're a little bit happier. But look at these volume candles here. It's just not much of anything. And then the bears show back up, and it's a big red candle again. So DOJ same thing. XLV was the only name that wasn't really like losing its shit yesterday. XLF inside bar. You can see XLV was green. So to show a little bit of rotation, even though there was a lot of selling yesterday, but at least it wasn't all sectors, even though XLV is like the weakest sector. IWM was, oh, IWM losing its 50-day here after trying to rebound. Bitcoin under 100. You can see how much trouble it had with this level up here. It's had a lot of trouble. And once again, it was shaping up to be what looks sort of like um a wedge, right? So you had like the lower high, higher low, lower low, no follow through, lower low, no follow through, lower low, no follow through, and then rejection. So, you know, it does suck in bulls there for sure because you're trying to get in here and you're just not sure. This happens to me a lot where I'm like, well, maybe the bulls are going to take this over. But you have your level. If it breaks the level, you're out. If it doesn't, then it's going to go down. You try to keep it as simple as possible, but not looking good for the Bitcoin bulls. Uh, oh my lord. Let's check out some of the indices. I mean, if your money's in Google, you're feeling pretty good, eh? Who knew Google was a safe haven? With that being said, if the market stays weak, this name might puke today. I think today is an interesting day for Google. It's either going to rise above or it's going to puke with the rest of the market. We have a tiny little gap fill here, which I'm going to take off because I did fill it at pre-market that one time, and it's just like it's a small little gap. I'm not going to put too much weight into it. It's hitting on all cylinders. 200 is a little flat. And it's kind of a tough read here. I mean, it's tough to go bearish on this name for sure. It's definitely a lead bull. But as we know, like the market will drag things down. So if you think the market's going to bounce today, you probably want to play Google. If you don't think it's going to bounce today, if you think it's going to stay down or sideways on a Friday, then Google is probably your best short. And look at that in a sea of red. Talk about Tesla's weakness. Oh, or sorry, Tesla in general. Um, I'm not playing this name, but I'm still a believer that it's going to go down before it goes up. Amazon had a very bearish day yesterday. Now it's definitely an interesting spot because it is back inside of that weekly range here, weekly resistance potentially being turned into support. Amazon did start off strong yesterday and it's just kind of get beat up. Let's see what it looked like on the hourly. Yeah, it's just trading sideways here. A lot of names had like this little sideways range with a bull break into a bear movement like PLTR. This one did not have the bull break. Bounced off of the value area. Well, so again, this is not the value area. I gotta remember um, that this is not the value area high. And I messed it up because it looks like this. It should be that. It should be that. That way I know this is just a resistance now turned support level. Not there's no value area high, there's no POC. So we're looking for bulls to show up. And again, they did show up right here. Let's see if the 5 minute triggered anything. So if you're on the 5 minute time frame, you have this sideways range, you have this break here, and then it gets a little bit tricky inside of here. But this is a combination pattern that could let you go bullish here. Big green into a big red, big red into a big green, and yes, you play the break of that, which is what exactly happened. It's candle formations. You get your bull flag here. You get your back test here. 5 minute, double top. This breaks, you're out of the trade. And you would, and like you say, this breaks and out of the trade, you still want a buffer there because it can break with no follow through and continue to go up. It will happen a lot. One of the hardest things in stocks is just picking something and sticking with it until you think it doesn't work anymore. I've been using buffers with ATRs, but one of the issues I've been having is that sometimes the ATR gives such a big buffer. Like if your stop needs to go here, and the ATR buffer would be like, oh, okay, well it's gonna go way down here. So it's like, well, why not just put it down here? And now my buffer is ridiculous. Like this is a buffer, right? Not like so. I've decided to do half of a buffer on the time frame, zero point 0.5 of an ATR buffer, and see if that helps with the risk a little bit because it's just a little bit too much. And in this exact case on the 5 minute time frame, you can see that the ATR is around 20 cents 25 cents, call it. So if we put that into play, so it'd be right here, you do 25 cents. Ah, Jesus, it's just easy to do the math. So 244.62. 244.62. There's your buffer. Breaks that, you're out of the trade. That would be for that. If it was half the buffer, then it'd be what, 72? It's not a bad buffer either. Right, here's your level, there's your buffer. I like it. It's funny that the ATR changes so much. Like when it's right here, it says it's 44.50. I guess I could just highlight it where the candle is and say half of that, 22. I guess that might be easier. Because this one's 74. But then again, it came from all of this. So the volatility matters. Anyways, now we're back down here. So what are we looking for? Looking for some help is what we're looking for. This hourly level. NVIDIA weak yesterday. Mad that I missed this. I can't believe it's coming all the way down to here. I can't believe it's coming all the way down there. It's insane. Uh, I remember being bummed about it, not getting to 198. Wanted to get to 198, and then it goes way down here. This was probably the play yesterday if you're looking bearish, because this was the only real hourly lower high we were looking at. But it opened. If you're being honest with yourself, the market didn't open until it was like basically already touching this level. So broke down. Here's your sideways range off the lower deviation of that level, and then here's your bear break. Same thing here, inverse head and shoulders, bull break, hold, try and just weak. Coming down into this level here. Just gross. 50-day approaching. Everybody's got eyes on this level here. Honestly think that this is a long today. There's your hourly level. We could see something like this. Back into here. Back up to here. I think NVIDIA is a long today. It's aggressive. The fact that it's coming down 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your gap down. I mean, the volume is yesterday's volume was pretty intense, but for the most part, the volume has been somewhat controlled. Battling off the 50 RSI. Now the main problem is, where does your stop go? That's the hard part. Stop should go down here. I mean, actually, technically, stop should go, because if you're basing off of this structure, then it doesn't get validated till it breaks that. But that we're not going to do that. We are going to, first of all, wait for some sort of bull action, for God's sakes. It is a gap down, so we do know with the gap down rules, um, there might be a push low with no follow through into a bounce, like a quick push. Again, we do have the 50-day, and it's lined up with this value range. I mean, this is a very strong setup when it comes to confluence. It's just a level that everybody and their mother is seeing. Uh, so I do think that that is. Oh my god, I can't believe CCG is getting fucking murdered like that. Vistra is a short. Vistra, move in here. Sorry about that. Just got to do some things real fast. CCJ not. Oh, wow. The hell? Oh, that sucks. All right, so watching that. Let me charge my phone. Don't really have much time to trade today. God, fucking life, man. I have NVIDIA here again. So ATR is around $2. So we'll say about it's $1 buffer. For doing a half an ATR. Using the hourly time frame for it because it is a daily move. So 50 days immediately right above the value, and this is a value area high because of all of this. You can make a case that it might. I mean, the highest bulls got was right here. I mean, you can make a case that it's gonna try to go here, not get down to the 50-day because it's so obvious. Key is not to guess. The key is not to guess. The key is get an idea of what you want to see. I mean, ideally, I'd like to see it go down here, but so does everybody else. Dollar buffer would be right around there from whenever we get in. So as of right now, that buffer would look something like this. And if it tops me out, it'll be, well, exactly where the trade. And you can see how you can just get paralyzed by it a little bit. Hmm. It's this battle between, does it let the setup come to you versus being more nuanced about it? I mean, in the reality of it all, it's still aggressive. Like, it's really aggressive. Hmm. Hmm. See, these are the type of plays that trip people up too, because it's like bear break of the low, then you get the close back above, and then the bulls try to hold it here. I mean, it is an aggressive bull play. Looking to get back up here, it failed. So now you're down here. So the bulls tried here. Are they really going to try right here again? Probably not. You wouldn't think so. So at some point, the Bears are in still full control. We essentially want to see a situation where the Bears either look tired or we'd like to see Price get into a resistance support zone and show up. So that's what we want to see. Oh my lord, that is not good. SAP, horrible. RGTI. Yep, it's gonna go down to the level. I did made a nice trade here too, but didn't hop back on. Damn, I knew it wanted to get down there. I knew it wanted to get down there. Same setup as a lot of other names. I mean, this is definitely a name. It was the strongest one. It's at a really nice level here. This one's a little more volatile. It's got earnings coming up too. and that sucks. So how much interest is there going to be for a longer term play? There might be a pop here. Could be worth a day trade. Ugh. How's Meta? Meta with the gap down. Meta with a big gap down. It's filling the gap. I mean, this is also, I mean, there's so many longs, I feel like. But it's like dangerous, you know? So with Meta, the things that we like are the fact that it's been huge gap down, continue, continue, continue. Then you have the first gap down open. So you have all this selling after this big gap down from earnings. Lower low, lower low, lower low, inside bar. Ah, you know what? There's a gap down right here. There was a gap down right here. Hmm. All right, well, I'm going to stick to these four names. Come up with a game plan. All right, y'all. Have a good one.